To all members of University of Nairobi community, ladies and gentlemen, receive my salutations. As you recall, I promised that Senate will be meeting to review the situation and approve resumption of on-campus learning for specific groups of students. I'm pleased to announce that the Senate recently approved the resumption of phased on-campus learning starting from November 9th, 2020. The Senate decision is meant to help the student whose programs require practical learning in the laboratory to report back to campus. We have therefore invited the first-year students in undergraduate and postgraduate program in the College of Agriculture and Veterinary Sciences, Architecture and Engineering, Biological and Physical Sciences, Health Sciences, and all students pursuing sciences in the College of Education and External Studies to report on this date to their respective colleges. The rest of students will continue online learning until further notice. Ladies and gentlemen, as we get excited and look forward to the return of on-campus learning, we must appreciate that COVID is still with us and remain vigilant. The safe resumption of on-campus learning requires conformity to the Ministry of Health's COVID-19 protocols and guidelines. I appeal to all members of staff and students to remain vigilant. We will continue to monitor the recent escalation of COVID-19 cases and inform of any change of plans if the situation so demands. I thank all members of staff for continuing to offer services, largely using online platforms, since the COVID-19 pandemic feasted upon us and rudely interrupted our life. I'm also happy to note that our staff at University Health Services have done exemplary well in taking care of our staff who have tested positive for COVID-19. I'm also very grateful to all the members of staff in the College of Health Sciences who have been teaching the final year medical students since they returned to campus for on-campus learning and clinical experience. It is because of your Guarant Act that these students will be able to graduate later this year. In line with our reform agenda on people, that is recognition and retention of talents, capacity building, and the motivation of staff through rewards and promotion, the Council recently approved the guidelines on recruitment and promotion of academic members of staff. As you are aware, many promotions were pending because we did not have an approved criterion for promotion of the teaching members of staff, since the one we used was challenged in court. I thank all members of staff for contributing to the development of the guidelines and for remaining patient. We continue to get reports that there are some members of staff who receive pay without offering any services to the university, or are in full employment elsewhere. This is unacceptable. Our well-stated position of no work, no pay remains. I call upon all heads of departments and the units to be vigilant and to report any case of anyone who fails to carry out their allocated duties promptly for appropriate action. We must remain committed to the motto of the university, Unitate et Labore, unity and labor. This is the only way we can keep the fire burning and therefore continue to give faith and hope to the Kenyan people. The University of Nairobi is committed to upholding institutional integrity and accountability. In this respect, the University of Nairobi Council recently approved the whistleblower policy, which has been circulated to all stakeholders. This policy sets out the organizational approach and the obligation to the detection and prevention of corruption and malpractice within the university. It provides a procedure for making of good faith disclosures, protection of those who make such disclosures from reprisals, and a mechanism for appropriate investigation of and response to such disclosures. I encourage your staff and the students to read and internalize this policy as it takes full effect. I believe that the full implementation of this policy will improve accountability, efficiency, and effectiveness of all our operations, ensure value for money in all expenditures, and consequently enhance the performance of the university. The recognition agreements and the collective bargaining agreements between the university and the unions provides for engagement in an environment of trust. As Vice-Chancellor, I'm committed to continue to engage the unions and the other stakeholders for the good of the university. This week, I held very productive meetings with the UoN chapters of Academic Staff Union and Kenya University Staff Union with the purpose of reassuring them the commitment of the university management to continue honoring all our commitments to staff. I asked them to maintain harmony and to support the university in the reform agenda. Their views and recommendations are critical to the reform strategy, which is aimed at making University of Nairobi more vibrant, relevant, and sustainable. I also transversed through the 6 colleges, where I held meetings with the college academic boards. The views received during these interactions are important in initiating the reform agenda. During these meetings, I emphasized that no member of staff will be denied any of their benefits, as these are clearly spelled out in the terms of service. Consequently, I appeal to all members of staff to avoid from being drawn into activities that besmirch the reputation of the university. We cannot fail to find solutions to issues that confront us as a university from time to time. I wish to inform you that the reform agenda that I shared earlier in the year is still on course. We have made good progress on the financial reforms. We began with the financial reforms to try and reduce the expenditure, which has consistently been higher than the income over a number of years. In order to develop a long-term strategy, Senate recently recommended appointment of a committee to develop and recommend board measures that will get the university out of the current financial challenge. The committee is chaired by Professor Karuti Kanyinga, Director, Institute of Development Studies, and deputized by Professor Harriet Kidobo, the Deputy Director of Odell Center. The roadmap for curriculum reform has also been developed, and I have asked the Deputy Vice-Chancellor in charge of Academic Affairs, Professor Julius Ogengo, to lead in this initiative. All staff are required to give their views to inform the action to be undertaken under any of the reform agendas. As promised earlier in the year, I would like to inform you that the process of reviewing students who have been expelled from the university is on course. The Pardon Advisory Committee has already reviewed and recommended several students to be readmitted to the university. These students will receive their letters of admission shortly. This is a big milestone for the University of Nairobi. It is my hope that the students will take this offer for a second chance to complete their studies and to go out to serve the society. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank all those who participated in the recently concluded virtual UoN Research at 50. The conference had well over 860 participants drawn from across the globe representing academia, government, and industry. Kudos to the organizing committee for a job well done. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to inform you that the 64th graduation ceremony is slated to take place on December 11, 2020. This is our second graduation this year, following the one we held in September. I call upon all students who are due to graduate this year to make all the necessary clearances well ahead of time. Thank you, and God bless you.